كيدا وأكيد كيدا فمهل الكافرين أمهلهم رويدا رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Today I want to talk about something that is being misunderstood by many Muslims because they do not understand the world that they live in. And the question I want to address is, why was a Muslim, or how come a Muslim is allowed to be a mayor in New York City? Is it because we live in a very democratic society and they decided, oh, this is the right thing to do? You must realize New York is the capital of the world. It is the place where the second largest group of the people that they don't want us to say online, the Yahud, it's the second largest place for them. And so now the question comes, why did they allow a Muslim from Uganda who's a Shia? And the campaign didn't even try to make a connection between him being an Ithna Ashari Shia and Iran, and the problem of Iran being a problem for the West. They didn't bring any of this up. And his coming into the scene of politics all of a sudden, and if everyone of course knows who his mother is, and finding this Muslim, quote unquote Muslim from Uganda that the Muslims of New York supported, finding is like finding a needle in a haystack to find this Muslim in Uganda. And I find that very interesting, just as a small point. It may be valid, may not be valid, but Uganda was the first place where they wanted to let all these people that was considered the problem of Europe, that all of these Yahud should be moved to Uganda. You see, to understand why this is happening, you have to understand one verse of the Quran. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ضربت عليهم الذلة والمسكنة أينما ثقفوا. Humiliation and degradation is heaped upon them. Who? On those that are considered مغضوب عليهم, those whom Allah is angry over because of their stubbornness not to yield to the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and their teachings, and their killing of the prophets, and their not accepting Jesus Christ. So this people, they, Allah says, will be humiliated and degraded wherever they are. There's a very famous word that I don't know if I should use online, that is used for this group of people, and when they perceive that people are against them, you know what it is called. And this you know what it is called, is mentioned in the Quran, where Allah says wherever they live they will be degraded. And so they're kicked out of Spain, kicked out of France, kicked out of Europe, kicked out of England I meant. Throughout history, just look at the history of all the places they were exiled from, because they were always considered a problem wherever they were. And then the same happened in Germany, and before it happened in Germany in World War I, it happened before that too. So wherever they are, they were considered a problem, and that in that problem they were actually considering, we'll put them into Uganda to get rid of this problem. And this is the, and then Christianity was changed through the through new interpretation of these are the children of God and so on and so forth, and Jesus was also a Jew. And so the Schofield Bible was used to change this opinion amongst the students of the Bible, which was then preached all over America. So wherever they are, this happens. And now this is beginning to happen in even this land, that where the youth that were protesting against them in the different universities, they were put in prison and jail from the best universities, Harvard and Yale and Princeton and so on and so forth. So the new generation is going to be very anti you know what. But they have those old folks that have 10 years, 20 years, that's the space of time they have to get their agenda done. And they understand this agenda needs to be sped up now because of the rise of this. And also in Christian eschatology, especially, it is believed that this anti Yehud, you can say, sentiments will rise as one of the signs of the end times, and all hands will be against the beloved people and their place in Palestine. So this is the scenario that they're creating. The whole world is against us, and wherever they are, it's preceded by this anti-this, and then finally they leave, meaning as things escalate because of the things that they do to any population. Now let's come to the question of why a Muslim mayor over New York. Is this a victory for Muslims? Or is this a sham upon the Muslims with multiple faceted agendas? So when you put a Muslim mayor in New York, you're looking for a reaction and a polarization within society. First of all, to make a certain group of people fearful and to get them ready for Aliyah, to leave to their sacred homeland, to create that mindset, you're no longer safe here. Okay? And they may do other false flags with this. And so a certain group of people, you can say the fraudulent and bogus Bani Israelis, their mindset is being put into a state of وَجِئْنَاكُمْ لَفِيفًا, we'll bring you all back to the Holy Land. So this is a plan to bring them all back, because you can't do the agendas there until they're all back, and they can't have their Messiah until they're all back. And to do that, you have to create polarization and a civil war type situation and break down the economy in this country, meaning America, so that they will leave, because they are very comfortable here. They will not leave unless they feel fear. And they will not fear without the anti-you-know-what. And so you put a Muslim in charge, and you get a reaction from different parts of society. Some even amongst the people that are supporting him not because they believe in him, but because they believe of the reaction that he's going to create in society and get people ready to leave the country and go back to their homeland. This has been the nation of Israel, their big agenda called Aliyah. Just look it up, the Aliyah plans that they have. It is their stated goal and their stated objective to create situation and to do things to allow people from the West to go back homeland. And if they do, they get a free house. Guess where? Probably in the lands that they just conquered, and in the places where these settlements are taking place. And so they have to bring the people back. They have to create the settlements. They need more land. They want to do this. This is part of the agenda. And this Muslim mayor fits into that whole scenario very well. In fact, I heard a Jewish rabbi who runs one of the YouTube channels actually saying these exact words. What do they want from us? Do they want us to leave New York? You know, this is why they're doing. What do they want from us? Like, they feel attacked, many of them. And so they feel threatened, many of them. But there's also those other reactions of the different groups, like the people that are very Christian, the people that are very racist, the people that are, you know, minorities are coming over here and taking over all jobs. Now the minorities are coming here and taking over America. First was Hussein Obama, and now it is this mayor. You know, what is happening to America? America is changing and creating this climate of, that we're going to be doomed unless we do something. This type of environment is being created in America by putting a Muslim as a mayor, because it is not authentic. It is not from an authentic willing and the wanting of the people. It is manipulated. And of course, all the Muslims felt it's authentic because they're all like, we'll vote for this guy because why? He's saying rhetoric against, oh, I won't go to Israel and I don't like Israel. Do you think that you don't understand the powers of corridor would never allow that to be unless it's like controlled opposition. Okay? إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا. They make their plots and plans. وَأَكِيدُ كَيْدًا. And Allah is making His plots and plans. Right? You're making a plan, and Allah already has your plan into His full knowledge and consideration as He's unfolding His own plan. So, but the problem is the Muslims are silly. The Muslims are not waking up. The Muslims are not smelling the coffee. That this is an agenda to take you away ultimately from the guidance of Islam, to take you away from Allah and His Messenger, to take you away, it's just dunya. You're just being drawn into the dunya and you can't see the truth. So, أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات. May Allah open the eyes of the Muslims, particularly the young Muslims, the young men and women amongst the Ummah, and give them a deeper insight into the reality of the nature of things. Ameen. Allahumma ameen ya Rabb.